Happy Thursday. I'm really proud of this content. I think this is one of the best overall, like the whole thing. I'm really excited to share some really good stats and data. Let's hop in, and I hope I'm not overselling it. Maybe you will agree. Rates, man, they're still just kind of sideways, but inching up just a touch. They're still in the sevens for the 30-year. You can see how we kind of got beat up a little bit, and that's due to job reports that are coming out tomorrow. Some of that's just, the economy may be doing better than they think and all this other stuff, right? So if economy's doing well, while that's good, it's really bad because we need the economy to not do so great so that Fed can cut rates. So here's a zoomed in look, just comparing the 10-year treasury and what it's been doing to the actual mortgage rates. So while Freddie Mac weekly survey, if you see that, FreddieMac.com on the right side, while it's been going down, the reality is Mortgage News Daily, the one that we just showed you, it's actually been kind of flat. So there is some discrepancy in the market for what's being reported. And you can also see that the 10-year treasury, we're back to being about a 3%, a 3% spread between the 10-year and just where rates are. So normally, historically, you might find that to be like 1.5-ish, right? Some more or less, maybe 2 points, but we've been at 3 for a while. So hopefully, maybe that'll get worked out. Again, as I said, the Fed, they're saying that they just don't know. They've actually revised, like we talked about last week. Instead of doing 6 cuts, now the smart money says 3 cuts. A couple Fed members saying even just 1, and at the end of the year. So that doesn't really bode well for us in the housing market, for where rates are going. And again, Powell's just trying to, I don't say moonwalking, but walking back a little to get folks not so excited about cuts that may not happen. And jump how high. I thought this was fascinating. Which makes sense. I mean, but the initial shock was just like, holy smokes, the down payment, the percentage of people putting down for down payment, it went up from 44,000 to 55,000. And so that's a 24% jump. But the down payment amounts basically went up from 10% to 15%. So, so in other words, people are putting more down, and it makes sense because to keep the rates, their payments the same with rates being higher, it kind of makes sense. I thought this was interesting. Maybe I'm just a nerd. The national debt, guys, it's ridiculous. It's scary if you really start thinking about it, but we're truly adding $1 trillion about every 100 days to the national debt because the interest payments are so freaking big because we're at today's interest rates. Janet Yellen chose not to lock in the rates when rates were at 2 and 3%. And so here we are now paying the higher interest, where literally like a third of our deficit is just covering the actual interest we owe to people. $34 trillion is what it takes at this moment to run our economy, which is nuts. So there you go. That's scary. We'll see how that plays out in the coming, year, 2 years, whatever that's going to be. But the reality is, guys, people still have cash. So 1 in 3 people are buying homes with cash. This is the most recent 34.5%. You guys can see how that went down during COVID because nobody was buying a home apparently at that point. But as rates go up, so do the cash buyers. Kind of makes sense, but it's up about a 33% year over year. $1 million cities. These are cities on the left side is the states. How many cities are there that actually with houses at $1 million or more? And it makes sense that they keep getting increasing. So meaning California is still number 1. But it goes from 198 cities up to 210. It makes sense because housing prices keep going up. Dallas, or Texas, I should say. What is that? I'm guessing number 9 out of 10 down there. We've actually gone down. Don't know how. I don't understand it, but that's why I'm showing it. Texas has gone down. Everybody else gone up. Not sure why. You would think we'd go up too. But on the metro areas on the right side, you can see that the Texas is nowhere even on there. So good for us. You Californians, God love you. But for us here, us Texans, man, I'm happy where we are. Apparently, because I get this question often, like, hey, what's the best month to sell? I just say whenever you want to sell is the answer. And I still stick by that. However, you can see that during the spring and summer months, there's actually a slight premium to listing your home in those months. You can see that purple in the middle. In June, homes sell for about an average of 2.3% of a premium. So whether that's your home or not, to be determined, but just showing that out that spring and summer supply and demand does kick in. And when there's a lot of buyers coming out in between school, that certainly makes sense. Home flipping. I thought this was an interesting chart that I wanted to share. Call it teal, green line, shows the ROI, return on investment for home flippers, has been going down considerably over the last 2 years. You can see the COVID little bit of peak, and then all of a sudden it came down. But the part that I just I don't feel bad for anybody is if you look at the actual orange, we'll call it piece, the average supposedly is still a $66,000 profit. So I don't feel bad for anybody, because if you look, that's the best it's been in not quite, but almost 10 years. 10 years ago would have been 57,000. So it's 66. So it's still up. And yes, it's not the monster big ones in 2021, 2022. But at the end of the day, I thought this was very interesting, to where the average flipper supposedly makes 66 grand a home. Yes, the ROI is lower because probably, I'm guessing, carrying costs and more down payment may be required these days. But at the end of the day, I don't feel bad for the flippers. And if you want to get into that, I think it's a great and wonderful industry to do that. Rates, we just kind of talked about. New home sales, you can see how they've been flat for us with rates, and how rates move when rates get expensive, with the exception of COVID. When rates were really low, they were selling a whole bunch. So again, I just thought these were interesting about pending home sales versus new home sales. So new home sales, the builders, God love you. We absolutely love you, and you guys are doing a great job. Let's make it happen. Have some fun. Apparently this $20 million home in Dallas has a 3,000 bottle underground wine room. I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to throw it out there. So there you go. The World Series, the Rangers, baseball's kicked off. You can actually buy a World Series ring. I had no idea. It's not exact to what it is, but you can still buy the ring. I just had no idea that was a thing. So if you want a ring, go look it up. This was on WFA's website, and good for you. And send me a picture when you get done buying it. Best places to buy a home under 300 grand. Number one on the list, Midland, Texas. So they base this on the home value, the livability scores, the income, the employment rate, all the stuff that makes for a good, vibrant, economically powerful city. Midland, number one. Congratulations, guys. I'll still take my home in Dallas. And finally, Eclipse of my heart. Finally, it's coming up. I'm tired of hearing about it for 3 months. Monday, get ready for the craziness. Protect your pets. They keep having articles about your pets are going to go just totally ape. So protect your pets. We'll be here and, living in the dark. Here's my sales tip for the week, guys. I was talking to a salesperson this morning about how, and you like my crab, when you're backed into a corner. I reminded her that people are still like animals, like raw emotions. We are animals. So if some animal like this is always getting attacked and try to get eaten every day and gets backed into a corner, even if you're trying to help it, it will bite you. And I said this because there's a home buyer that we're trying to help, and we've told them no from day one. Like, hey, we're trying, we're doing our best. You went under contract before we even talked to them. They're already under contract to buy this home. They come to us, with 2 weeks to close, and we're working as best we can. But from day one, we said, plan on being homeless. Go find somewhere to live. We cannot do this in 2 weeks. If we can get it done at all, it'd be really fun, and we hope we help you. Look, at the end of the day, the moving days come this weekend, and they're not happy. They're biting the hand that's trying to help them. So understand that at some point, those emotions get misdirected to the person trying to help, but they're backed into a corner. So as salespeople, my recommendation, guys, is really paint the picture of what the reality could be. For example, hey man, not only are you going to be homeless, like you're going to be in an apartment. You need to make sure you're in an apartment, and to make this loan work, you have to sell a car. And that's not even a guarantee that the loan works. So I need you to picture sitting in an apartment without a car to run to the grocery store. If you're willing to do those things, we can maybe move forward and help you maybe get this house. But I need you to plan on that being the possibility of what could happen to get this thing done. Because they might have just said, you know what, I'm not, now that I've painted the picture, I'm out. Right? But to say, hey, I think we can get this done, make some other plans, we just let them go. I'm not saying we did wrong. I'm saying we were very transparent and clear with them. But if you take that extra step and really paint the picture of picturing them sitting in the apartment living room with no car, and this still doesn't work because they keep saying they want the house, but they're not doing the things quick enough and fast enough. And just remember, when it comes down, they will get frustrated, and they will pinch anybody that's trying to help them because they're backed into a corner. So remember, my recommendation, paint visual pictures, help people really imagine what that worst case scenario looks like. And then that allows them to determine if they want to move forward. Lastly, for the meme of the week, this isn't us, but man, I had to share. My brother-in-law sent this to me. My job is a cool thing where if you do your job very well, you get to do other people's job too. I thought that was hilarious. Social, get with social, guys. If you like this, find this helpful, forward it, subscribe, all that fun stuff you're supposed to do. As always, we appreciate you, and hope you have a great rest of the week and good weekend.